Okay, I'm going to go over the review sheet part 1. So this first one, since it says center and radius, it's a circle. It has to be. Circle is the only one that has radius. The center is found by looking at what is subtracted from the x, which in this case is nothing, and what is subtracted from the y, which in this case is 3. So what's subtracted from the x is nothing, and what is subtracted from the y is 3. And it's always the opposite sign. Since it says minus 3, it is just a positive 3. The radius is always found by taking the square root of that number. So the square root of 9, and the square root of 9 is 3. So you're going to plot your center, which is at 0, 3, and then do your radius up, down, left, and right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And draw your circle. This next one, since it is a plus here, it is an ellipse. And if you don't know what shape it is, you could go ahead and start filling these things out, and once you kind of graph it, you'll kind of see what it is. So, but ellipse has major and minor axes, so that's one thing that you can look for. The center is found the same way that the center for the circle is found. You look at what is subtracted from the x and what is subtracted from the y, or in this case added, but it's always the opposite sign of what's there. So it says minus 3, therefore the center is a positive 3 for x. It says plus 1 to the y, so the center, the y value for the center is the opposite of plus 1, which is negative 1. The x direction is found by square rooting what is under the x. So the square root of 64, which is 8. And the y direction is found by square rooting what is under the y. So the square root of 25, which is 5. So graph your center, which is at 3, negative 1. Your x direction is how far you're going to go in the direction of the x-axis, which is left and right. So 8 to the right, 1, 2, 3, which in this case is actually a little off the graph, and 8 to the left. And then you're going to go 5 up and 5 down. Then you connect the dots to make your ellipse. The length of your major or minor axes, the length of your major is always the bigger number times 2. So in this case it's 16. The minor is always the smaller times 2, which is 10. And if you count, it's actually the longest side of your ellipse, so this whole thing right here would be 16 across. This whole thing here would be 10 across. Your foci is found, for ellipses, you subtract the denominators, and you always do the opposite of what's here. So since this right here is a plus, you're going to do the opposite, which means you're going to subtract. So 64 minus 25. Which is 39. Which the square root of 39 is 6.2. So that equals 6.2. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the direction of the major axis. So in this case, since it's like hamburger shaped, we're going to go left and right. 6.2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 0.2. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 0.2. And then we are going to write those 2 points for our foci. So this point right here is at negative 1, 2, 3.2. And down 1, so negative 1. And this one is at positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.2. And negative 1. This is a parabola. Anytime that you have the table, it's going to be a parabola. Is it horizontal or vertical? You find that by what is listed first. In this case, the y is first. So it is vertical. And then it opens. You do that by if there is a plus or a minus right here. In this case, it is a positive number, so it opens up. And vertical only open up or down. So since it's positive, it's up. The vertex is found the same way that the centers were. So what is subtracted from the x, which in this case is nothing, and what is subtracted from the y, which in this case is nothing. So since nothing is subtracted, it's 0. 0 is my vertex. Your a is found from this fraction right here. So whatever this fraction is, what you do is you say 1 over 4a is equal to that fraction. So 1/4. Well, what do I multiply 4 by to get 4? 1. And then you use this a to find your focus. So you're going to go 1 up. So up 1. In the direction that it opens is how many you're going to go for your focus. So up 1. So in this case, my focus is at 0, 1. Your directrix will go in the opposite direction, the same amount. So since I went up 1 for my focus, I'm going to go down 1 for my directrix. And it'll always be the opposite of what's written here. So since it's vertical, we're going to draw a horizontal line through negative 1. So my directrix is, since it goes through the y-axis, y equals negative 1. The last thing we have to do is plot 2 points. And the 2 points that you're going to use, the way that you're going to get them, is by multiplying your a times 2. So for this part, we go 2 times a, which in our case is 2 times 1, which is just 2. And we're going to move 2 from our focus. So from our focus, 2 to the right and 2 to the left. And then you draw your parabola. But first we need to put those points. So we use negative 2, 1, and then 2, 1. And then you're going to draw your parabola from the vertex through these 2 points that you plotted. And we're done with that one. Okay, this one is a hyperbola because of the minus right here. That's how you know it's a hyperbola. Plus, it's the only one, it has 2 vertices, so that's how you also know it's a hyperbola. So this one's center is 1, 3. So 1, 3. its x direction is the square root of 36, which is 6, and its y direction is the square root of 49, which is 7. So now we can graph that stuff. The center is at 1, 3. The x direction is at 6. And the y direction is 7. Okay, for your vertices, we find our vertices by looking at which letter is first. Since the x is first, we will use our horizontal vertices, these two right here. If the y was first, we would use our vertical, but in this case, the x's are first. So one vertex is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And then the other one is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3. And you need to draw your diagonals. Your foci is by taking the square root of the denominators, and this time it's the opposite of this, so we're going to add it. So 36 plus 49. So the square root of 36 plus 49 is 9.2. So we're going to go in the direction of our vertices, so left and right. 9.2 from our center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.2. 1, 2, 3. Oh wait. 9.2. And those are our foci. So this one is at 10.2, 3, and the other one is at negative 8.23. And now we can finally draw our hyperbola, so we will go from the vertices along the lines, but not quite touch them. So there's one. And there's the other. This one is a parabola. And is it horizontal or vertical? We figure that out by what is listed first. So since the x is first, it's horizontal. And then you figure out if it opens up or down by if this is positive or negative right here. Since it is positive, it opens to the right. And horizontal can only go right or left. Oh, and it is, of course, a parabola. To figure out your vertex, you see what's next to your x and what's next to your y. Since this is a positive one, it will be negative 1. Since this is a positive one, it will be negative 1. So at negative 1, negative 1. That's my vertex. My a is, of course, 1 over 4a is equal to whatever this fraction is. So it's 1 over 12. What do I multiply 4 by to get 12? It's 3. And since it is horizontal and to the right, we're going to go 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3, and that is my focus. So that's at 2, -1. My directrix is in the opposite direction, so since we went 3 to the right, now I'll go 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3 to the left. And since it's horizontal, we do the opposite, so we're going to do a vertical line. So our directrix, since it goes through the x-axis, is x equals -4. These other 2 points, remember, we do 2 times a, which is 2 times 3, which is 6, and we move that way from the focus. And we go in the direction of the directrix. So we're going to go up and down 6. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then connect your vertices with your other 2 points. And we still need to put the points over on the left too. So this point is at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and at 2, -7. And we are done with our problem. This is a circle because, oh, it's an ellipse. I'm sorry. This is an ellipse because it's the only thing that has major and minor axes. So an ellipse with a center, you see what's next to your x and what's next to your y. Since nothing is there, your center is at 0, 0. And your x direction is the square root of what's under your x, so the square root of 9, which is 3. Your y direction is what's under your y, so the square root of 16, which is 4. So we're going to go 3 to the right, and 4 up and down. Then you can draw your ellipse. Length of major and minor axis. Major is the longer one, and you double it. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. And your foci, you take the square root of, since it's plus, you subtract 16 minus 9, which is the square root of 5, 6, 7. Square root of 7. And the square root is 2.6. So we go from our center along the major axis. So this case, since it's more like a hot dog shape, we go up and down. 2.6. 1, 2.6. And 1, 2.6. So my points are 0, 2.6, and 0, -2.6. And we are done. This one is a circle. It's the only thing that has a radius. So my shape is a circle. Its center is at whatever is next to our x and y, but the opposite sign. So since it says +3, it will be a -3. My y, there's nothing there, so it's 0. So -3, 0. And your radius is the square root of what's at the end. So the square root of 25, which is 5. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're done. This is a hyperbola. It's the only thing that has more than one vertices. So the shape is a hyperbola. The center is at whatever is with your x, and then whatever is with your y. And see that the x is second, so you have to make sure to pay attention to that. There's nothing with my x, And there's a plus 2 with my y, so it's negative 2. My x direction is the square root of what is with my x. So the square root of 36, which is 6. So 6 to the right and 6 to the left. My y direction is the square root of what's under my y. So the square root of 25, which is 5. So 5 up and down. And then make your box. Do your diagonals. You figure out your vertices by seeing what letter is first. Since there is a y first, it's my vertical ones. So my vertices is actually this one and this one. So it's at 0, 3 and at 0, -7. And you could actually go ahead and draw them if you want to. And then your foci, you do the square root of the denominators, and since it's a minus, we have to add. So 25 plus 36. So the square root of 25 plus 36 is 7.8. So we will go 7.8 in the direction of the vertices from our center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.8. So our foci are 0, 5.8, and 0, -9.8. And we are done with this part of the review.